Again, if it's easier for you, you can actually draw a really faint line because you're not really going to see that. Once this gets turned inside out, you won't see what you've drawn on the pocket bag. So if it really helps you to do that, that's fine. Okay, so outside of your garment, this is happening. Long pocket bag on top, short pocket bag with the welt. Again, check the back, make sure that you've sewn correctly. Mine's a little bit off, but it's okay. Now, we're gonna cut open in that shape that I told you guys. Sometimes with an unpicker, it's a little bit easier to do this. So if you have one, you can make a little hole in the garment first.
Any scissors?
Should be fine, yeah. Okay. And then when you get to this point, start cutting it open and stop maybe a millimeter or two before your last stitch. Okay, now that you cut this open, everything is going to be pushed through the hole to the back of the garment.
Do we need to fix it with add stitch or just press?
Sorry?
Do we need to fix it with add stitch over?
There's more steps to this. Yeah. I'm just showing you what it should look like on the outside. Now ironing at this stage is quite important. I'm not going to waste your time with it. But what you want to do is actually let's iron it just so you can see. Line up your pocket bags and then make sure that this is sitting and covering your pocket bag up there. Your seam allowance up here needs to be facing up so that this can sit perfectly in there.
Is that why they put stitches here to prevent infection.
They do. A lot of the times, if you really want to make sure that the final result of your pocket is really nice and perfect, what you can do is just by hand put a few stitches there so that the pocket is kept closed. Then you're going to press this, get rid of any creases or anything that you might have. You see this little triangle here and this little triangle here are going to have to be sewn to the pocket bag so that your pocket doesn't open from the sides. Now, what you can do is you can create this piece longer. So this can be as long as you want it to be. And then on the edges, you're just going to put a few edge stitch as long as this piece is, just to hold it down. That's how you do the breast pocket ones, for example, which you will learn in the jacket, that is created at an angle, and the actual piece of the welt is a lot longer than the opening of the pocket. So this opening has nothing to do with how big this needs to be. This can be made anything from this size to whatever you want it. Okay, back to the
The
sewing
shapes
machine.
as well,
Huh?
design as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the classic shape, but I guess you can create something rounded or anything. As long as it covers the part. Okay, before we seal the pocket bag for a welt pocket, you always sew down the edges of the pocket. When you're doing it, make sure this triangle is sticking out. And this is your opportunity to, if you have a little gap, if it's a huge gap, then you need to start again. But if it's a small gap, you can just move the welt to cover it up. If you sew your pocket bag before you do this, it might be really difficult for you to close any gap you might have.
That's good idea, so you can do it just by hand.
Yeah. Okay, so we're fully happy with what the pocket looks like on the outside. Now you're going to close the pocket bag. So, starting from one side, we're going to start sewing from up here. And you need to make sure that you're catching this triangle with the sewing machine. And as close as you can possibly go to the opening.